We can't hear you.
I'm on mute. That's my fault. That's Shivali. She did our Yin Yoga teacher training course some time ago. She's done lots and lots of different kinds of teacher trainings. She teaches yoga professionally in many different places, and so it's wonderful to hear her journey also as a yoga professional and what she's been up to. So she's going to be teaching you module 3, and you've been doing a lot of Iyengar related stuff with props, so she has a lot of new and interesting takes on how to adjust and all of that and how to use the props. So she's going to be stepping in and helping you guys with the module 3 once we get there. But before we get there, we just have to tackle anatomy. Okay, so we're going to be quickly going through that. So everyone, I know this is not the easiest part of the course, but stay attentive, stay focused, and we'll get there, okay? So, I'm going to quickly share my screen. And I'm just gonna run you through a few basics before we get to specifically what you need to know in Yin Yoga, okay? So just to show you all, this is the spine. Okay, it's really nice to see this all in a 3-dimensional view. Online, you guys can see everything, right? Yes? Great. So this is our entire spine, and it begins actually almost from the middle of our head. Okay, right from literally from the top of the head, and then it goes down into our neck, and all the way down, okay? And then we've been talking about the sacrum quite a bit. So, right here, I'm trying to make this screen also big. 1 second. Just center a little bit. Okay. So just so that you can see what the spine is like, and remember that, sorry, with Zoom, this app becomes a little bit difficult to use. We'll try. And so this is an important thing for us to look at right here. Sacrum. So we've been talking about the Swadhisthana chakra. So just around here, this is the hip bones, okay? So you can see that it's quite a fragile shape also. You know, like you can see that this is like a nice thick long rod, but you can see here that this is a fragile shape, the hips. So this is why we've been talking a lot about the hips, about why we get a lot of tightness. This is also why we tend to sometimes get imbalanced. The shape of these hips is you know, it's a little sensitive. So thoda sa bhi, as we age, as we go through childbirth, when we have hormonal changes, oftentimes these hips will slightly it'll change. And that's why we often get, you know, find stiffness, pain in the hips, right? So this is what our skeletal anatomy looks like, our scapula over here. This is our rib cage, and inside this, you'll see that the lungs are almost 3-dimensional, so they're all the way at the back. Right? We often think of the lungs only over here, but the lungs begin from actually right underneath our collarbones, like from here. So that's where the lungs begin and extend all the way down. So just so that you understand this basic muscular anatomy.
Where the hip bones join, are they? Where does that?
That's the bottom of your of your pelvis and your urogenital system. So this is where your reproductive organs would be. Okay? Over here. So when we look at the reproductive organs, you'll see that fits in actually right over here very nicely. Okay? Now let's go back into our nervous system. I just want you to see how the nervous system, what it looks like. Okay, so you can see so many nerves are extending like all throughout the bodies. And you know, if you look at the astral body, how yogis have mapped it out, you'll see that even the nadis, you'll see it looks like this. You know, so this like the astral body is in very much ways an imprint of our nervous system, really quite similar to this entire thing. And this nerve over here, the sciatica nerve. Okay, we've been talking a lot about it, so look how thick that sciatica nerve is. Like really thick, right, compared to the other nerves, and that's why often there's a lot of sciatica pain. And you know what's right over here is, this is the vagus nerve. I've been talking a lot about the vagus nerve. That nerve is also originating at the top, and it's this one. Right over here, you can kind of see it. It's the vagus nerve. So another really important nerve that goes right through here and goes all the way down. Like this is the vagus nerve. And there's one that goes like this, and then there's one to the other side as well, to the right and to the left. The vagus nerve is a really important nerve of the parasympathetic nervous system. So also a very important nerve. So just so you can get an idea of what the nerves are looking like, why they're passing. And you can also see that so much of it is running through the spinal column. You know, right? You can see so much of it is running through the spinal column. So many nerves, right? Everything is coming back here. So we were talking about the chakras and how they're plexuses. So because the astral nadis is an imprint very much of the nervous system, and there's a lot of like, you know, as I mentioned this, the physical body, our astral body, it's so similar in many different ways. That's why we can see how wherever the chakras would be along the spine, there would be plexuses where the nadis are the most, where we would have our major chakras. So if we're looking at the Swadhisthana, it would be somewhere, I mean, the Muladhara would be right over here somewhere, right? Like right over here. And the Swadhisthana would be right over here. The Manipura would be right in this region, right here. Then we have the Anahata over here, the Vishuddhi over here, Agna over here on top of the head. I mean, it's past the spinal cord, and then the Sahasrara right here, right? So you kind of get an idea, a little bit on a physical level, on what's happening, okay? I'm just going to run you through the basic systems first so you get to understand the basics of the human anatomy. Respiratory system, always important to take a look of so you can just kind of begin to see how the diaphragm that we're always talking about, this is the diaphragm, right? When I'm talking about diaphragmatic breath, this is that exoskeleton. It's kind of a thin, muscular, but also skeletal. It's an exoskeleton, which is supporting our lungs right here. And then this is the heart, right? So the diaphragm, when you're breathing correctly, this diaphragm is supporting the heart. So when we don't breathe correctly, we're not using our diaphragm, then the heart is getting a lot of pressure, and we have to overuse the heart because we're not using the diaphragm. So this is the most important respiratory muscle, is the diaphragm. These are our lungs. As you can see, they're 360 degrees. They come all the way at the back. It's not just the front. They start from here. We never think of the lungs as being back here, but the doctor will always check. The doctor will always put his stethoscope at the back also, right? Because he's checking at the back too. So remember, these are 3D structures. We don't think of like that. We don't visualize our lungs like that, but they are, and they're quite large. Beginning from here and going all the way. Quite large, but they're beginning all the way here, and the mass of them is actually, right below our chest. This is the lungs and starting, so they're quite large as well. Okay, so our lungs, and then moving to now the digestive system, and get an idea of the organs that we've been talking about, right? Small and large intestine. So you're talking about what's at the bottom. This is at the bottom. See our reproductive organs. This is a male anatomy, so right, the reproductive organs. Diaphragm, this over here, the stomach, right? Pretty small. Our stomach is actually just this size, just a little bit larger. This is the stomach. This is the liver. because the liver is towards the right side. So you can see it's kind of tilted towards the right. So if you actually feel your liver, if you put your hand right here, you should be able to feel the liver. Right underneath the rib cage, right over here. Feel this? You feel the sharp pain if you...
Right. Just under the ribcage.
Yeah. Feel it right here? Wow, I think my liver, yeah, I can feel it right here. Like my liver is not in its optimal shape because I had dengue fever and the number one organ gets affected is liver. So actually I don't feel it sometimes, and now that I'm actually touching my liver, I can feel that, wow. When I was touching it 6 months ago, like I couldn't even feel it. Like there was nothing, but now when I feel it, I can feel it, okay, this liver is like little bit I can feel it is slightly inflamed, and probably a doctor would say the same thing. But yeah, I think it takes like 4 or 5 months after Shivali malaria, dengue sisters. I said I must have had some...
At the same time. Like we had at the same time.
Yeah. But I think that the first day when I got dengue fever is that I said sorry to all the mosquitoes. I said, I'm sorry if there was any bad karma that was exchanged between us that led to this, but it's all good. So you can see that's a liver, important function. It produces all the major thing of the liver is that it's energy production. So when you have low energy, when you have fatigue, all of that is usually related to your liver not really working 100% optimally, okay? So we keep on talking about the liver meridian, it's towards the right. Okay, so you have an idea of the major, then of course this is our mouth, this is all the digestive system over here beginning from our mouth. So the trachea, the esophagus, all of that. And right over here, your diaphragm, right? This pink exoskeleton that we saw properly in the other one. Our kidneys will be right here. They're towards the side of the spine over here. Okay, I don't know why I don't see the kidneys in this diagram, but they will be here. They'll be at the back over here, somewhere over here. We'll see the kidneys because the kidneys are at the side and the back. They're right over here, actually, the kidneys. Okay, they're not in the front. We keep on thinking everything is inside, like everything, all the organs are here. All the organs are not here. The organs are actually, most capacity of the organs are at the side of the body, and that's why twists are so important. That's when we're doing all the things to the side. Those are really important in any practice of yoga because you're moving. We always say, right, we're massaging the organs in this yoga practice. We're working on the organs, we're breathing in our organs. So the side body is really, really important because that's where we have really the kidney and the livers, the pancreas, they're all alongside the body, not in the middle of the body. What we have in the middle of the body is basically the large intestine, the small intestine, and the stomach, okay? That's primarily what's in the middle. It's the urogenital system, okay? So the kidneys are part of that, so it'll be in this diagram. So the main organ of the urogenital systems is the kidneys because that's responsible for waste and excretion. Okay. I'll just search for this. Right. Right over here, okay? With this kidney bean shaped thing, you saw that? Sorry, it's not the best, but I'll just do that again. Sorry, this thing is a little tricky to use along with Zoom. Right here. Right, the right and the left. So it's right underneath this. So it's a little hidden in this thing, but this is how it is, and it's just around this big. That's how big your kidneys are. It's pretty tiny little structure the kidney is. The lymphatic system, very important in the drainage of the whole body and maintaining fluid. Okay, so it maintains all the fluid balances in the body is this lymphatic system. This entire thing in green is the lymphatic system, and where you see those small round things, these are the lymph nodes. So you must have heard of that, right? The lymph nodes. So this is the lymphatic system. The other important system is the limbic system, which is part of your brain. And that actually regulates your emotional control and certain parts of the brain. It's actually called the ancient brain, the limbic system, because it's kind of one of the older parts of the brain which even our ancestors had, the limbic system. And this is a pretty mysterious system in that there's still a lot of neurological work that needs to be done on the limbic system. Okay, so anyways, at least you know about it. That's the most important, that you've heard of it. So this is just your skull, so you understand what's happening. This is your brain. You can see it a little bit from the inside of what it looks like. Okay, and also how it connects to the spinal cord, right? So what I said is that the spinal cord is starting from almost here, right? It's not starting from the bottom of our neck. It comes all the way up, almost to the middle of our head, to where the brain is. And the brain just immediately connects with our spinal cord. So you can see that from here, from the inside of this thing. So you just begin to get a good idea of the main parts of our musculature, of our anatomy. And now let's move to our Yin Yoga section. So we can see what is important for Yin Yoga. And again, I know this can be a little challenging, but just try your best to understand whatever you can understand. And then a lot of it is experiential, so we just try experientially to at least visualize some of these organs that we've seen today, okay? So just when we practice yoga, we twist, elongate, and we compress our muscles and our vertebrae. So just imagine a dried up sponge, and the same way when we put it in water and it really begins, it becomes like big again and really spongy, and then it becomes really dried up. So when we're doing yoga, we'd always say we kind of squeeze these muscles and then we decompress them, so we release toxins and we work on our organs. So again, the beautiful part of yoga and why it's such an advanced practice is because it's such a sophisticated practice. We're not only working on our muscles or our bones or our joints, we're really working on the level of our organs, on the level of our hormones, we're working on the level of our energy. So that's why yoga is such a sophisticated practice, right? It's not just working on our muscles. And that's why it's so much better than going to the gym. And that's important too. Yoga is just very sophisticated as a practice, and that's why it's such a healing practice as well, okay? Now, that's what's also really nice about Yin Yoga, because when we're holding every posture, we're allowing that work to happen on the level of the organs, right? So think about like the banana asana that we've been doing. If we stay there, just imagine how beautiful your kidneys must be feeling. Imagine how nice your liver must be feeling. We really stay there. And now that you know where the organs are, try to think about those organs when you're doing these asanas. Now you've seen visually where they lie in your body. So when you're doing them, try to think about it, okay? So when we're doing Yin Yoga, we're working past the muscles into the cartilage, the tendons, the ligaments, and the connective tissues, right? So these are lying at a deeper muscular level than the muscles on top. It's just a little deeper. So, right? So we have a joint, and on top of the joint, we'll have supporting muscles to protect everything. So the muscles like a big cushion cover that we have to protect all of these different things. So when we age, as our muscle mass starts decreasing, a lot of science is saying that now weight training is wonderful, especially for older people. And it becomes even more important because you want to keep your muscle mass good so that your bones and your joints and your ligaments are protected. But even these things get very stiff as we age, right? And we see that, I'm feeling so stiff, but it's not often your muscles, it's these deeper lying, they're all part of your muscular system, but they're deeper than just the muscles that we're building in the gym all the time, right? So there's 4 main kinds of tissues: connective tissues, muscles, neural tissues, epithelia. When we're working on Yin Yoga, we're mostly working on connective tissue and the fascia. Now, we've spoken a little bit about fascia. What is fascia? Which covers the whole body. And when it's on top of muscle, It's called myofascia, right? So since we're concerned about in our course myofascia because we're looking at the muscular system. But this fascia, so if you cut open a cadaver, a body, you'll see this white stuff sprouting out. Even when you're looking at a liver, it's completely covered by a white jelly. But that fascia has a lot of intelligence. And again, not much work has been done on fascia yet, and there's not too much knowledge about it, but it's beginning to become discussed. Like now there's more research being done on fascia, and fascia is thought to be quite intelligent. It's just like our gut. You know, like now there's so much talk on gut, that the gut has its own intelligence. The gut is a second brain of the body, all of that stuff, right? So just like that, even with the fascia, there's a lot of thought process on what is fascia, why is it important, what is it doing for us? And that's why a lot of fascia release techniques are becoming quite popular, and people are using them more because they're realizing that, okay, fascia must have intelligence, let's figure out how to release it because it's making people feel so much better. So a very major reason why yin has become so popular is because of the work that it's doing on your fascia, this gentle, long stress that we apply on the bodies by long holds, that's helping release tension from the fascia, okay? So all of this stuff you can go through, and again, I really like this quote that Bernie Clark, whose book I suggest that you read, that it's like if you see a hot dog, there's this thin saran wrap that holds it. See that thin saran wrap? So just like that thin saran wrap, it holds everything together. So that fascia holds everything together. Like it holds everything in place in our body.
Like a bed sheet.
Yeah, more like a thin, like it's like a thin wrapper. You know, it's a thin, like, yeah, it's a very thin kind of it's a tissue actually. It's a tissue. And so we're looking at joints. You know, we have 3 different kinds of joints: the fibrous joints, cartilage joints, synovial joints. Again, the synovial joint, it's like, you know, they're slightly bigger joints. Cartilage is holding what's a cartilage in our body? A common one. Like what's cartilaginous? A little soft. Yeah. Yeah, it's a cartilage, right? A little soft. It's a little bit of a loft one. Synovial joints, like the hip joints, that's a synovial joint, right? Like when we saw that on the diagram, do you see those 2 things right here? Those are the ball and socket joints. Those are joints that actually move. They're quite, the hip joints are, synovial joints are the hip joints. So they create 360-degree movement. And so there's also a little space between the joints to allow for that movement. So even the knees are synovial joints.
Rheumatoid arthritis. The body attacks the synovial joints and the fluid.
Right, so you must have a lot of understanding of that on a physical level, yeah? So the knees, the hips, yeah.
The shoulders.
Yeah, so this is also synovial joint, right? Because it provides 360-degree movement. So the shoulder joints.
But for me, like also the elbows.
Yeah, the elbows as
mainly
well. The hips.
And the neck, shoulder. Like
Yeah,
this.
because these are also the largest, right? So it's this and this. And then usually older people, when they have arthritis, it's the knees that get affected the most, you know? So
It's like when I'm climbing down the steps.
then you feel that
Then
effect.
I feel.
So now you see why you felt so much better after doing yin yoga, right? Like yesterday and today, because it's exactly targeting those joints, right? Whereas a normal yoga practice may or may not. So you felt that difference too.
Yeah.
That a hatha yoga practice was not helping your joints as much, but this is making you feel really good, right? So case in point of Priyanka, of this working for her, because yin yoga is also specifically targeting the joints, okay? So the impact of long hold stress, bones need to be gently stressed to remain healthy. So when it's too much stress, it's not good, but gentle stress is always good, right? It keeps the body maintained. If we don't do that long hold, then the body will go into deterioration if we don't give it that stress. And that's why we work out, we go to the gym, do yoga, because that gentle stress helps the body repair, rejuvenate, and also just keep building. So very few active yoga postures stress the lumbar bones like yin does. So I have found that yin yoga really, really helps for actually lumbar spine pain, lower back pain. So people who have lower back pain will often not come to yoga classes because they're quite afraid. But what we do with the bolster, we help maintain the natural curvature of the spine. So if the curve is if it's too curved or less curved, just that bolster, when we lie back in some of the lumbar postures, like the saddle pose or the Supta Baddha Koan, the reclining butterfly, a lot of these are really, really wonderful for the lumbar spine, for lower back pain. Even the forward bends that we do, all of those really, really good for maintaining the integrity of the spine. So these are some nice benefits to know and also to talk about in your class. And as your students become more aware, they will approach you with slightly more technical questions. So it's nice to know all this stuff. So we lengthen our muscles through longer held passive stretches by stressing the fascia that surrounds the muscles. This is also, again, really nice for things like the hamstrings. People keep on stretching the hamstrings, but the hamstrings, they're always, complaining about tight hamstrings, especially because we're always sitting and we're shortening the hamstrings. So practices like yin yoga really helps with the hamstrings and the lumbar spine curvature and things which take a lot longer to fix than a quick, I'm just going to stretch this muscle and it's going to get released. It stimulates growth of fibroblasts through blood flow. So this is a really nice one. So fibroblasts create collagen and water-loving molecules. So when we hold everything for a long time, we're stimulating the growth of these fibroblasts. Make our ligaments thicker through collagen productions, improve the lubrication between the joints. And when we hold the skin for a long time, actually, I don't know if you guys feel it, but I actually feel like my skin gets stretched, especially when my skin is a little dry. I really feel the first thing that I usually feel is a stretching of my skin. I feel my skin getting stretched in that yin pose. So when you're doing the postures in our second class, just pay attention to your skin, because the largest organ in our body is actually our skin. So just stretching that skin is so nice. And I actually believe in the long run, it really helps your skin. It really helps your skin because the skin gets dry, the skin gets, gets tight. So just by being in those postures and giving it that long, gentle stretch, even the skin becomes a little bit more supple. It drains toxins out through squeezing fascia, but also because of the stimulation in our lymphatic system, and also because of what we're doing with the liver, because we're holding some of the postures for a long time. So our liver, remember, is responsible for a lot of toxin release, so are the kidneys. So because of this, a lot of toxin release happens in the yin practice and establishes the S curve in the spine, in the lumbar spine. So that gentle S curve that we need, where people become, either too curved or less curved, this really helps that. So the following points, when learned well, will serve you as a practitioner, as a teacher. Just, this is not too much. I've really culled down just the most important stuff that you need to know. If you are able to just learn this much, then it'll really help you just understand the basic anatomy of yin yoga. But we have that wonderful book. It's kept over there. It's got a lot more on myofascia and anatomy, really a lot of in-depth things. So if you want to go a little bit deeper and you think that's interesting, maybe Sonali for you, because you're teaching all this stuff in your classes, then that's a great book to have. So actually, I do recommend that all of you get this book. It's available online on Amazon. Just grab it and read a little bit of it every night. Bernie Clark's. It's a really good book. It's a really nice book to supplement. What we have is the essence, and again, as I mentioned, we still have this thick manual, but no one read it. No one printed it out. Because it's thin, you guys have printed it out, bound it, it's approachable, it's accessible, So that's why we've kept it thin and simple, so you can at least do this much, and this much is enough. And the rest is experiential. All right. Let's have just 5 minutes for questions. Oh, shoot. You guys are still seeing the anatomy page. No one said anything. Huh. Oh. But are you guys fine now? Huh?
I want to know about fascia. I'm not clear about it.
Okay, so it's just, okay, let me show you some fascia. The diagram doesn't show it too well, but you can see a little bit, okay? So maybe if you visually see it, then you can understand a little bit more. Okay. All right. always shows spasticity of the firm or on the scrotum. It's not showing like, that's also quite interesting, but. Where is the fascia?
That's a grayish thing.
Usually it's a white thing,
Translucent.
white.
Yeah,
thing
no,
is all fascia.
it's,
I think it's seen in subsequent.
yeah, it was, let me just, yeah, it's a little difficult to see diagrams. It's actually very easy to see in the sperm diagram. Let's just go to that, huh?
Okay, and one more thing. It belongs to which system? Like the muscular, the
Muscular.
muscular. Okay,
Muscular.
not the skeletal. Of course, it is above the entire body from top to toe, spread everywhere.
Yeah, it's your whole body, but it's a tissue. Okay, it's a tissue.
Like ITV is a fascia. Or ITV band is a fascia.
Is it?
Fascia, yeah. It's a
Oh,
fascia.
now I remember. Yeah, actually, my elder brother had got hurt here at the crevice of this. So he had got hurt and the entire handle of the door had gone inside and some jelly-like substance, white. I remember now in my childhood days when I was a teenager. That fascia.
That is fascia. That's a good recollection for you for fascia. It's a little difficult to see in these diagrams. It's a little bit. So this you can see over here is the fascia. Actually, this is the scrotum. This is like the male reproductive organ.
Can't see.
So, okay, one second. This is actually, in this you can clearly see the fascia because it's a thick layer of fascia. Okay? This is the fascia. This yellow stuff. This is the fascia.
They are saying online that it contains collagen. Fascia.
Yeah, it does. That's why when we do yin yoga, the fibroblasts, it actually helps with collagen production. That's why the skin and everything, we just talked about that, right? Yeah, so it helps with the collagen production because of the fibroblasts, right? We just saw that, right? This is a good showing. I mean, unfortunately, it's not the cool, like it's just the male reproductive organ, but at least you can see the fascia well on this one, It's a thick layer of fascia over here, this one right over here. But the other fascia is usually not so thick, like you can't see it so thickly, but it depends. Some have thicker fascia, some have less. It's like the nerves. There's some thick nerves, some small nerves, some big nerves, just like that. Okay. But I advise you to go through module 3. It's a very nice, simple one. And if you want to have an in-depth understanding, then definitely read Bernie Clark's book. It's a really nice book, and it's got some really nice, deep explanations. So many of our reference materials have come from that book. Garma, do you want to just type in your question? Piyusha, tell me.
What is that website or application you were using? Is it freely available? You're on mute.
Sorry, it's called 3D Anatomy, but it is a paid application. Okay, you can buy it, but it is a paid application that you have to get. So we, use it for our courses because it's a beautiful way to see the body and to understand what's happening.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, guys, so that's about it for our modules. And as I said, if you have any questions, please write an email with your questions once you start studying it. Okay? So you're absolutely welcome to do that.
Meera, you're talking about Glenn Clark also. You also talked about Cassandra Reinhardt.
Yes,
So
that's a good book.
She also this contains more anatomy. Okay.
This has a lot of good theoretical applications. That's good for like postures, sequences. It's got nice pictorial diagrams.
She's the one who I follow on YouTube.
Yeah. So that's a nice book also. That book has a lot of sequences and postures in it.
Okay.
This book is a lot more theory, and it has really good anatomy in it, like really good in-depth anatomy. So it's a very good reference guide for that. And also Cassandra's book is like colors, and the pictures are colorful, and this is like black and white. So if you want to look at the diagrams and look at the postures, I think that book is better. This book is better for theory.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I've seen a lot of her videos.
yeah, so get the book, but still get the book, because the book will help you just look at every posture. So I think that for yoga, Stuff, books are really nice, especially physical books are great because you can open them, you can see what you're doing, then you can follow the sequence. Even if you're doing it alone, you can it's to open your phone, to look at the video, or to even open an iPad, it's a little distracting. So I feel that having 1 or 2 books with you is always nice. So I've mentioned a couple of nice books in your additional reading. And if you want to go deeper, maybe get one and then you can do it like that. If you like the first book, get the second book. But the first 2 books on the list are the ones that I highly recommend. So try to get those, and especially in the next 2 weeks, as you're studying, as you're teaching, you can begin to go a little deeper. All right? Okay, everyone, but don't worry. I know anatomy can be a little overwhelming, but at least as long as you know where all the major organs are, as long as you know their major functions, it'll help you with your own practice also, more than anything. So now when you're doing the practice, please try to see where your organs are, feel them in your body. And that'll be at least a first step of connecting to these organs, right?
Mind muscle connection. It actually
100% mind organ connection, all right? All right, everyone, so now we are going to module 3. Are you all ready to practice? Yes. So Shivali is taking over. Shivali, why don't you come and tell us a little bit about yourself? You all are really lucky to be learning from Shivali. She's such an excellent teacher and really a very, dedicated student of yoga who's taken her practice so far. So if any of you have even questions on career and things like that, please feel free to speak to her or ask her questions, and she'll leave her email address or Instagram handle. So please follow her, and you can drop her questions on email and Instagram, because today actually we are running a little bit kind of on time, because I did promise we'd end a little early. So what I'm gonna do is, Shivali, why don't you begin introducing yourself, talking about yourself.
Hello, I'm Shivali. Nice to meet you all. Thank you, Ira, for calling me here to assist you. It's a great way to learn as well, because the more I attend Ira's classes, I think that's the first time I attended her class was way back in 2020. And that's when I was also coming back to yoga. I had a career of spanning 7 years. I was in a corporate field, and then I got fired. So I was in a way trying to find my path. And then yoga happened. And Ira was the first person that I connected with. I used to follow her on Instagram and of course watch her show. And then I kind of asked her for a job, and she was the first one who said, okay, fine, come, learn. So that's where I started. And so I did her yin yoga course. I've been doing yin yoga with her for a long time, and then when she came out with this course, I think I had to sign up, because yin yoga, I feel personally, is required. You must have seen, we're in a state of running, right? We are even if we are resting, we are thinking of things. There is things to do, there is some chores that we have at the back of our mind. We're not completely at rest, and sleeping in is what I feel is not actually rest. It's just the rest for the body. We're not actually rested our mind as of yet. So yin yoga, in my opinion, helps us to rest the mind, bringing that stillness which we all are looking for. All the things which we do, in my opinion, doing yoga, meditation, pranayama, is to come to that state of stillness. And yin is an excellent way to still your mind as well as the body, and all the wonderful benefits which it has for the muscles, for your, for your core, for your all the joints which you have. There is no particular practice which you can do which kind of works on the body as a whole, but yin works on your body as a whole. It works on your muscles, it works on your joints, it works on your mind, it works on stretching, it works on resting, relaxing. So once a week I ensure that I also take yin yoga in my classes. We have a half and half, yin and yang, which I do in my classes. We start with an intense namaskars and postures, and then we kind of do a longer shavasana where I include the yin yoga. And yeah, that's my story. Okay, All right. If you want to ask anything, I'll be happy to answer. I teach in Bandra and Khar right now, and yeah, that's it. So
So there is a lot of takers for you.
absolutely. I think it still needs a lot of awareness. So you have to be able to, also be, to explain what yin is. But once they experience it, they want to go ahead and do it. And there are, I teach in Bandra and I teach at these places, gyms and all. So there, they don't want to do intense yoga practices. They just want to stretch. So in a way, I kind of introduce yin to them when they feel like, okay, fine. And then that's how, while doing the class, they experience, what is happening in their body. So I kind of don't explain that, okay, fine, we'll do yin now. And I just introduce, okay, this is a posture, it's a way of doing, it's a yin pose. And while we are doing the pose, I explain all the benefits of what a longer stretch helps and how using the props help. So, and there are takers, but of course it needs more awareness. That's for sure.
Have you taught at Rhinos?
I do.
Many of my friends learn from me.
Yeah.
Shri,
Yes,
Priyanka.
Shri is a student.
very
Yes.
good friend. And she used to be my student. She used
Oh,
to
is it?
attend my classes.
What's her name?
So my name is Sonali Game.
Nice to meet you. Oh, I know you took a retreat in Himachal, right?
Yeah.
And she went for that. Yes, she did mention. Of course. Nice to meet you. I do.
All you guys should
And I've heard a
think
lot
of
about
attending Shivali's classes.
And I've heard a lot
I
about you.
remember
She
I
always
was,
recommends.
no, I heard from my Bhavna Nagpal.
Yes. Okay. So, do you want me to also take the postures now, or are we doing?
1, 2, 3. So where we yesterday stopped. Now everyone can just get ready on their mats and things like that. So grab your props, grab your mats, go to the restroom if you need to. So we covered yesterday our supine postures, and we covered a few of the sitting postures. So now we did the butterfly, and now we can come to did we do the butterfly? We didn't, not the reclining butterfly, the sitting butterfly. We ended with the frog, I think.
Yeah.
Right, we ended with the frog. So we ended with the Anahata Asana and the frog. So today we're moving on to the sitting postures, the butterfly, the half butterfly, all of which we've already practiced in our classes. The caterpillar, the shoelace, which we did in the class, the square, which we did in the class yesterday, the dragonfly, which we did in the class, the deer, the swan or the sleeping swan, what we call the pigeon. Then we have a few other postures. So we're kind of done with a little bit more than half, and we have about 7, 8 postures left. So I'm gonna give you this. Thank you. So we start from here. So again, as always, it's really nice to be creative. Shivali has been doing a lot of Iyengar-inspired stuff. I know here, both Priyanka and Shweta have been practicing a little bit of Iyengar, no?
No, I'm
Just
doing
Shweta.
Hatha yoga.
Just Shweta. So but still, it's good to think a little bit about, how to use your props in a creative way. Just even beyond just the basics. So Shivali can go
Okay.
crazy.
Alright.
You can
Okay.
go crazy with whatever
Whatever
makes sense. I'll move this a little bit aside. See it better. But the online people are pretty flexy. They're kind of.
So we'll start with the butterfly pose.
Give me a little maybe louder. Can you all hear her? Yeah? Okay, good.
We'll start with the butterfly. Since we are in yin, it's always nice to support your hips in butterfly. So I like to sit on a thin blanket for this. We can't sit on a block because our butt is in a round structure. So if we sit on a block, we won't be able to move the muscles as we would want to. So plain, or there is another like a rounded cushion that comes, but then I don't think we won't have it in places. So placing your legs here. In butterfly, if you're holding this pose for longer, we can take support for our knees. We can place blocks below the knees. Again, most of the times you'll see that a lot of our students are very tight around the hips because we sit in sofas, we sit in chairs, and the body kind of takes the shape of the chair. So they are like this. Legs are somewhere here. I have runners who can't just sit like this. They are constantly like this. For them, we'll take slight elevation. So we can ask them to sit on a bolster for that. So if they need it, again, Yin yoga is 80% of relaxing and 20% effort or 70%. So only, but we still need to feel that slight stretch that we are working on. So for butterfly, just imagine where all we are going to stretch. We're going to stretch this area, the groin, the hips, the thighs. We'll also stretch if we bend in front. We'll also stretch the back of the spine. I'm just going to adjust this a little bit more. So just focusing on where all the muscles are going to stretch, and then take your props accordingly. This is too high for me, I'm going to remove this. So, and the more close it is, the more it's going to come on the lower back. Okay, so you can start with somewhere middle, and then if you're just holding here, you can ask them to hold here. If they have any neck issue, you can use a bolster to relax your neck. You can place it like this. This is another way of just being in this pose. If you can ask them to use their props as they like. So if they feel like they want to stretch a bit deeper, they can go deeper and use their props for the chest. Go here, somewhere. Again, only using the props as and when required. So for me, I like to feel a deeper stretch around the hips and the thighs, and I like to feel a stretch around the lower back. So I'm going to remove my props and just stay here. Okay, so this is one way that you can be there. You guys can just hear me out also while you're in the posture. And it's always good to first do the pose yourself and see where all the body is starting to work now. So I can see that my body is working around the lower back and my body is working around the hips. So you can start to give them the cues. Feel that stretch around the lower back, around your hip opening. If it's too tight around the hips, you can take your legs slightly forward. If you want to rest your chest, you can take like a deeper height for your bolster. So there are many ways that you can assist them, or you can ask them to assist. You can also place your block like how, what's your name?
Tatvika.
Huh?
Tatvika.
Do you have a nickname?
Yes. You can call me TK.
TK, perfect. Okay. So what TK is doing, she's done it like this. Like she's, like this. Yeah. So she's placed a block here. So you can place your block here for the chin or for the chest, or you can place your block down for slight elevation and just be there. Okay. I feel like a nice deep stretch around my hips, and that is what the pose is for. This is a hip opener. It works on a Muladhara. You also rest your chest here. So just be there, breathing. Okay. So the next, just a very simple flow from here, if you want to take a flow, would be to just come up and just ask them to extend one leg out and go into a Janu Shirshasana. Yes, Janu means knee, Shirish means head. In Yin we use the English terms because it's a practice from China. But you can also add in your yoga words if you like to. I like to mix and match. So you can go into a half butterfly like this, bending in front. Again, I find this a bit easy, so I'm gonna remove the bolster, just place my head here and stay. It's nice to rest your head also because we have the ajna right here, and when we press the ajna, that helps to work on this chakra, the third eye. And as you go deeper into the pose, you'll see what all muscles it's starting to work, so you can give them cues accordingly. See, once I hold this pose longer, I can see that my neck is starting to, kind of stiffen up. Could be practice, or it could be going to the gym or just looking at the phones. So for that, if your neck is stiffening up, you can rest your chest on something like this, just using the props as per your comfort. This posture works on your solar plexus because you're slightly hunching the back, the root, your sacral, all the sitting down postures help to work on your root, your Muladhara. At the start of each class, we have a theme, so you can just gently cue them and keep bringing them back to the theme. Let's switch the leg now. Last time when I took this class, it was like I went way over time, so I'm also kind of going faster this time. So you can just switch your leg and just stay wherever you feel comfortable. I like the way that Sonali is doing her pose. She's kept like a bolster in front, and also she's kept like a bolster below her arms to support her chest. So there's a bolster in front of her and one bolster right here. So this is also another way where you can support your chest and your head at the same time if you have that many props.
So which are back curves?
Yeah, the back curves here, that's okay. That's the way that back happens. And it's also because, because of the postures. Like I said, that we sit on sofas, chairs, and we're not used to being on the floor so much. So that's why the back kind of takes the shape of it. It takes time for the back to become straighter, but then that's an active practice. But that is not the intention of Yin Yoga right now. If we are trying to align the back, make it straighter, so that's a Hatha class. Right, but what we can ask them to do, we can ask them to arch a bit and go into a deeper, like go with a straight spine. So we can ask them to go with a straight spine if their back is arching. Again, if you want to support your knee, if the knee stretches here, you can place like a block below the knee, like you did. See here. So this posture works on your lower back, your core, your glutes, your hamstrings, your hips. So the entire lower body. Slowly coming up. You can also go into variations here. You can go into a side bend if you want to add a side bend into it. So you can place your hands here. You can place a bolster here and just take your other hand up and just stay there. Or take the hand towards the lower back, opening the chest at the same time. So adding like a gentle twist in this pose. It's just, and if you feel like you want to support your neck, you can place your hand here, or you can use like a block to support your neck at the same time. Just trying to use your blocks as with intention, as and when you like. Or you could just turn completely around towards the leg which is open and just stay here, feeling that stretch on your right laterals, supporting your chest with a bolster if you like for your neck. Let's switch. Next posture is the caterpillar or the Paschimottanasana. Caterpillar is a posture which is the basic most forward bend posture. So any pose that you do in a sitting down, it starts with this. So you can start by placing your knees, most of the time you'll see that your students, they kind of sit like this. They cannot bring their feet closer. That is because they have a very tight hip. Also, they have a very loose psoas muscle, the hip flexor. So very loose. So this needs to be engaged. So you can ask them to bend their knees a bit for that. If their legs are opening up, flaring out, and you can place your bolster now and use another bolster if you like, or just fold forward, resting your head. You can take a block for your head. And as you demonstrate the posture, you can see for yourself which all muscles this posture is working on. It's working on the entire posterior chain, the entire back. So it's starting from your calf. If your knees are straight out, it works from the ankle. If your knees are bent, it works from the thighs. So it's working from the thighs, going towards your hips, going towards the lower back, your neck, your entire posterior chain, the entire spine is working here. This is the only posture where you can engage all the three bandhas also. So we have a Moola bandh, right at the root, then we have an Udyana bandh at the belly, then we have a Jalandhar bandh right at the neck lock. So you can focus on engaging all the three bandhas while you are in this pose. Again, depends on the theme of your class. If you want to feel a deeper stretch on your calves, you can hold your feet from the top, like how Kira is doing here, Sonali is doing. And you can ask them to just go like that without the bolster below the knee. And you can place the bolster on top of the knees instead for your chest. Gently, when we come out of the pose, coming out, since we did like a deeper back bend, we can do like a interim yang posture, which is bending the knees, and just twist side to side, taking your knees side to side. So yang is done, like what I've learned when I was in this course, is like it's done for at least a minute, but you can take it as per your, how much time you have. Half a minute is also fine. Alright, so then extend the legs out, we go into shoe legs or the cow legs. So bring the right leg from top and the left leg from below. Again, we all are quite flexible here. So the knees are coming easily on top of each other, but at times, because of the tight hips, the legs come somewhere stay here. So you can take support, you can place like a bolster here for the other leg, for the other knee, for the knee on top, or you can use a block for the leg, wherever, however, it helps you to stretch the outer glute. So this is a posture for your outer hips, for your lower back, for your spine. So wherever you feel the stretch, you try to bring the leg till there and then stay at your maximum. Right? Yes, you can use from here, just holding the toes, keeping your spine straight. And like you mentioned, there's an arch at times. We'll ask them to intentionally lift the spine up and create that gentle arch on your back as you stay here, just closing your eyes. The leg, which is on the top, will feel like a deeper stretch on just the outer hip. You only use the props as per your need, your capacity. This posture works on your lower back, your feet and ankles, your hamstrings, your hips, your knees and your pelvis.
I feel not in the IT.
IT band, right? Yeah, because of the tight IT. Of course, because we stretch from the outside of the hip. So that's okay. You can take support for your knee if you want to stay here longer. You can just place like a block between the knees. This will help you support it. But it's okay to feel the stretch. As long as it's a good stretch, it's a good pain and not that intense deep pain. Is my voice okay? Yeah, alright. So let's switch from there, extending both the legs out. You can shake your legs to bring that blood flow back. 10 to 20 seconds. And then let's go on the other side. Right leg from down and left leg from the top. Just focusing on all the muscles which you're working here. The IT band, she said, your knees, your ankles. You can ask them to cue their awareness to all these muscles and sending the healing breath as they hold the posture. Breathing into any tightness, any stiffness. So another variation here is if you can fold forward. So this helps to stretch the hip and the lower back more. Again, you can use your blocks as with intuition. Staying here. That's good. And another way that you can be in this pose is like to like a side stretch. So you can work on your hip and your laterals at the same time.
This also you can stay for 2-3 minutes.
It'll be harder, but then once you have that alignment right, it's okay to stay. So once your muscles are stronger, so you can also take your hand back and just twist, just going as per your pace, or you can just ask them to open the chest and stay here. So anything that works for you, but this, of course, the hand being up would be a bit hard. So just gauge their reactions and how they are, if they start to twitch and move, so you can ask them to come back. Alright, let's release. Next one is the square, which I personally
Forward, sorry. You can do forward diagonal.
You can. That's the beauty of the posture. So you can bend anywhere. You can also bend in front. You can also go here on the other side. This. So depending on what muscle you're working on, right? And also what I do, I take in classes the things that I feel at that on that day. It's all about. At the same thing you are also doing it. So if I feel like I want to stretch my back a bit more, so I take the stretch and I like go deeper. Okay, fine, this is nice, right? I'll be there, and it works with them as well. So next we'll go into a square pose.
Log pose.
Huh?
The log.
Square. Yes, the fire log. That's it. Fire log is in yoga. This is the square in yin. So in fire log, you take your right leg, place the right ankle below the left knee. This leg is into a square, and then bring the other leg, place it on top. So what you'll see most of the times, you'll feel that the knees kind of stays up. So you can support this with a block. But ensure that you come and help them. They don't know how to be in the pose, they'll still go and do like a normal Sukhasana here. So you constantly remind them, okay, the leg is in a square, where the top knee is in line with the bottom ankle. You can stay here, so this, you can just be here, focusing on the stretch. This is a gentle stretch for complete beginners, and then once you feel that they can go deeper, you can ask them to go in front and just feel that deeper stretch on the top part of the hip.
Can you show me another way? In the sense,
Your knee is hurting?
I have meniscal tear.
So you won't bend the knee so much then. For you can be somewhere here, so you can just stay here.
Yes.
This is okay for you.
Because this and the saddle
Yeah, that's
is
hard.
just killer for me.
So butterfly can be an alternate
Butterfly,
for...
yes, absolutely. So we look at the muscle which it's working on. So this is a square pose for the hip. So it again works on the outer hip and the glute and the lower back.
Actually, the recline
That's the
pigeon
same thing.
also recline pigeon.
Exactly. So if you can go into a pigeon. So anything, but this is also groin opener. So see what theme works for you, then you can take it accordingly. So for you, you can go into a pigeon, coming into a square, walking your hands out. I personally practice this on a daily basis because it's an easier pose to go into. It's not pigeon where where you have to extend the back leg and you have to take a lot of support. So this pose works on your glute, your hips, your external hips, your knees, your pelvis. But again, what's your name?
Kamala.
So like Kamla said, so she has like a meniscus tear. So anything to do with the knee, if there is an issue with the knee joint or the knee, you cannot flex the knee. It's gonna hurt the knee. So you will give them variations where the knee is slightly bent but longer. So they can do like a Baddhakonasana here, or they can just do this, where they are going into a supported Upavishtakonasana, where the knee gets some support.
Like a right angle.
Yeah, for you specifically, you won't be able to go into a deep Balasana also because it's gonna come on the knee straight. So anything which is going to flex, if you have an ankle issue, if you flex the ankle, you must have done the toe squat. This will come on the ankle if you have an issue. So you have to take support for the joint then. Alright? So we're still in square. We're bending in front. From here, come back. You can do like a side bend in the square pose. And what I also do in this pose, I go into a Bhumi Mastak, which is trying to touch the head on the floor. That's also an excellent stretch for the spine as well, or for your erectus spinae. So you're going to twist back, walk your hands in front and trying to touch the head on the floor. You can use the block for this. Just stay here into a deeper twist on the side. The hip stays down on the floor. The other hip has to stay down. That's the idea. So it's okay if you can't touch the floor, you can use your blocks and your props accordingly, but the hip and the legs are squared. So you can just be here, you can just be on the side, take support for your chin, for your chest, take your bolsters.
The upper leg comes up when you're going.
So you use a block for that. You can place the block for your other knee. That's really nice. Yusha is doing it with a full support, like she's placed a bolster, a blanket, a block. So that's a good way to do variations. Yeah. So for you, see this leg is coming off, which is fine, absolutely okay. But you try and keep it. If you help anybody else, you'll try and ask them to go a bit deeper if it's not happening. So is this okay? So you can take more support for your knee. So if this leg slides off, then it won't come on the outer hip. So you can ask them to take a deeper support for the knee. This is too big. Or you can ask them to place like this. However it works for you. And then just fold just halfway, feeling that slight stretch on the hip. Just focus your awareness on the muscle which is working. And then we work accordingly. It's not important to reach the final pose. Let's do a switch. So right knee was in first, now let's do the left leg. Left leg in, right leg in. Most of the time the heel will slide off. So we're going to bring this leg in front and give them support for the leg. Yeah, and you only bend on the side or in front if first the base posture is fine. This is good. And then slowly just you can be there. Yeah, just feeling the stretch on the hip and the lower back. We'll also do a side bend since we did the same on the right side. If your back or if your shoulder starts to hurt here, you can just take your hand back and just stay. If your head starts to hurt, you can support your head. Now we'll do like a Bhumi Mastak. So twist completely. Just going wherever your head and your hands will reach.
So this I can.
This you can do in the hand. It's the other knee here. It's also there on your book. If you have any injury or inflammation on the knee or the hip, you don't flex it so much. You don't bend it. Okay. So we're going to move on to the dragonfly or the Upavishta Konasana. Legs are wide, Upavishta Konasana. If you have any knee issue, knee injury, first we'll give them the contraindications. Instead of going into the posture straight, we'll ask them to make adjustments if there is any issue. So for the knee, if they need, they can take the block support, keep the knee slightly bent. If they have any lower back pain, then they can sit on a slight elevation and then walking your hands in front, going only as per their capacity. You can use a block, bolster for your chest, for your neck. Again, we'll do a bit of effort as well. So we have to feel the stretch. This stretch is for the upper back, for your core, for your glute, your hamstrings. So you have to be able to feel the stretch throughout your posterior chain again. So just see wherever you feel the stretch. If it's too easy for you, if you're somewhere here at the top, then you can ask them to go a bit deeper. If you know that person that they can go deeper, then you ask them to adjust their block and bolster and go deep. You work on your solar plexus, root chakra, your spleen, your swadhisthana. Slowly coming up. So what all variations you think you can add here? Yes, you can do a side bend and you can also do a twist. You can also do a mastak touch if you like. So let's do a side bend here. Bringing your block or your bolster here. Open the chest. The base of the posture remains the same where your chest is opening. And then if you feel like you want to stretch your hand, you can. Or if you want to take it back, you can. How's your back? Is it okay? Just go easy. Go as per your pace. Alright. Slowly coming center. We'll do a twist or we can go into a Bhumi Mastak. So twist completely towards the leg.
One question.
Yes.
When we do, say you say a side bend, from front we will do the side. Should we do the side bend on the other side or prefer?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But then you're changing the props too many times, so maybe you finish the side and the twist and then
yes,
go, right?
yes,
I mean, there's nothing wrong or right.
Absolutely, yeah. So, but if you're doing it on the right, you have to do the same thing on the left. That is for sure.
That is for sure.
So right now, that's the same thing. So because I was on the side only, so I just twisted, and then I can go towards the front leg. But it's not too much of a prop change. It's just one block from here to there. So you can also place a block here on the knee and then bend in front. Again, use the bolster for your chest, for your neck. Same things which we did. Or if you feel you can go deeper, you can just rest your head on the shin or on the knee.
Is it necessary to do like this, or you can keep the block outside? Or
So
when you do-
outside, it's gonna come on your, it's gonna twist a bit too much. So it's better if you place it inside or on top.
Okay, sure.
Just, but it depends on you. See, if I try to go outside, it's a weird twist for me.
Okay.
But if it's working for you, you try. See how it works for you. Is it okay for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more oblique on yours.
Yes, yes. Again, if you want to work on your calf, you can flex the foot and hold the foot completely. That's the head. The more you practice, the more ideas you'll get. Alright, we'll come back. Let's try this on the other side. Left side, hold the toe. So what we do in an Iyengar class, we have ropes hanging from the top. So we hold the rope and then we twist.
That would be.
So this is like a nice stretch, like the prop stretch. So this also helps to stretch the upper back as well as the hip and the side.
You've done Iyengar course.
Yes. And then let's twist towards the leg and do a Bhumi Mastak.
Where you did Iyengar?
I've done in different places. So first I went to Himachal and did it from Sharakarola first, and then I've gone to Pune, then I went to Goa. So there are many courses.
Pune from Prashantji.
Yes. So they have this Iyengar. It was a weekend workshop. So you have to, so in Iyengar you have to do like a whole 10-year course.
Yeah.
So for that I go to different instructors and learn them. Because it's not possible to 10 years. You cannot, it's not possible to do the course for 10 years. Yeah. So to be called an Iyengar instructor, you have to do it for that long. But what I do is like I just do an Iyengar inspired practice. It drops. So staying here. How's it going for you, Kamla? Is it okay this day?
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
So I'm twisting on the outside.
Alright. Okay. Let's come back. I think your class is going to start in 10 minutes. Have we done all the postures? We've done a swan.
Swan we have not done.
Pigeon, swan, we haven't done.
All of these we have done.
You've done
Camel, we haven't done.
Okay. Do you want to take over because I think I'm going slow again? Or
No,
do we have time?
We have time. We have time for like 5.
So how many postures do we have to do?
We have to do these, and then these are the yang sets basically. These ones.
Okay.
These are kind of,
Got it.
these are pretty quick. Super attractive.
Deer, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Up the side.
It's like a bird.
So let's come out of the posture. Let's go into a deer. Deer is also what we call half and half. So bending right leg 50 and the other leg 90-90 or half and half. From here, so you can either be here feeling the stretch on your adductors, your thighs. So this stretch is for the lower back, for the hips, for your knees. Again, if you have a knee issue, you can take support for the knee. You don't bend the knee too much. Yeah. From here, you can either face front, or you can also twist on the side and go on the side and stay looking on the side. And just observe all the muscles that you start to work here when you're in this posture. So you're working on your back as well as your hips and your quadriceps. And you can do a variation here is like going into a Bhumi Mastak. So you can just fold in front and touch the head on the floor. You can take your block, your bolster.
The other side just rises a little bit. Is that okay?
That's okay. You can take like another blanket for your head.
Okay.
And you can place a blanket For the knee also, it's going to be softer for you, yeah. Alright, slowly coming out of the pose. Let's try this on the other side. If you can think of any new variations, you can also go at an angle of 45. Yeah, front is also there, you can go in front, or you can do 45.
Also, this is a great pose for people who cannot do the pigeon. The pigeon can be challenging for people, or the sleeping swan. It's a nice, easy pose that almost everyone can do.
Right. It's harder to take the leg back at times in pigeon, so this can be just hold it on the side and do it two variations. Okay, let's come out of the pose and try the other side. Knee legs in front. You can do like the yang. Reset, knees side to side. Just getting the blood circulation running. And let's do this on the other side. So left leg in front, 90, right leg 90. You can first twist and stay like you followed in the first round. Twist and stay, feel that spine, your chest open. Working on the right quadricep with flexors at the same time. Then you can fold in front, ask them to go in front and then hold. Do a small flow in the posture.
Which section must we hold it to?
30 seconds is too less. We can hold it for 1 minute.
Then this forward one.
Yeah, yeah.
This will move it up to.
Right. I like how Ira is doing. She's done like a twist also in this. So you can, if you have a chair, you
Or
can
the chair.
you can do like a
Yeah, but
twist
it's
as
really,
well.
really good, you know? So just use any prop that you have available. It's nice. It's just, as I mentioned yesterday, my sides tend to get a little tight, so. But this is a twist. This is a nice twist anyways.
Okay, let's come out of the pose. If you would like, you can also go in front, bending in front, just bend forward into a variation of pigeon. So it's mentioned here in your book that you can also do it in the bed. So if anybody has a full body weakness or tight hips, they won't be able to sit on the floor. So you can also do it on a softer mattress or a bed. So next is the swan and the sleeping swan. So the pigeon pose. So extend your legs out. You can shake your legs.
So in the beginning, we've taken all the hatha yoga postures and made them into slightly nicer animals. From the pigeon to the swan, from the lizard to the dragon. We've kind of made the animals more mystical.
So just twisting side to side. From here, crossing your legs, you can either go into a pigeon pose like this, but if you want to use going into a down dog, bringing your hands in front, this helps to work on their alignment as well. And then take your right leg front. You're going to come into a pigeon pose. In pigeon, you can take support for your bottom knee as well as your right side of the glute. So glute which you're bending, you can take support. Put like a block or a blanket right there. Again, if you have any knee issues, you can take support for the knee. You can place another blanket here. So this is the most advanced, where your leg is at an angle of 90. You can start where Kabla is, you can also start somewhere here at an angle of 45. But in short, it's not important to follow, of course it's good to follow alignments, but the hips are squared here. So if you can ask them to bring their hips squared, that's always the better way to be in a pose. So you can raise your hips up, placing the blanket below the hip, asking them to square. And let's start with a spine stretch first. Just ask them to be here for a bit if you like. And then with that stretched spine, they can fold forward into a sleeping swan. Focusing on the muscles that we are working on, upper back, glute, hamstrings, hips. External hips also, some knees, the knee is flexing so it's working. You can also work on your neck. If you stretch the neck and look down.
I also want to say that everyone's anatomy is different, so it doesn't have to be that you have to bring the leg here and bring the leg there. People keep on saying that, oh, my leg is not coming to 90 degrees. That's absolutely fine. Every anatomy is different, so where you feel the most aligned. This is where you feel the most, that you're getting the most out of the posture. That's the most important. So remember that everyone's hip anatomy is a little bit different. Okay, so just find that spot for you.
So I like to feel like a deeper stretch here, so I myself bend my back leg and feel a stretch on the quadricep. So if that works for you, you can stay somewhere here into a semi-pigeon. Or you could go into the side bending, the twists here, left hand in front, twist, looking up, take the hand on the lower back. Whichever works.
For your shoulder and the back.
Shoulder and the back, yes. It depends on your flexibility. You can also work on your arm variation. So I like to do crisscross arms here if that supports. So you can take like a blanket or
Thread the needle.
yes, crisscross arms also.
Good for the shoulders.
Yes, absolutely. So you work on your hips and your back and spine.
Is above your head.
It's right. So if you see on the camera, it's right in front of my chest, and I'm placing my chin for my neck support. And then, of course, if you're doing the left hand front, then you also ask them to twist the right hand front the next time from the left side. Yeah, so remember the hand which you took in front. Okay, let's switch.
Since my leg is coming all the way here, the thread the needle becomes difficult because it constricts mine. So I
That's
just
okay. So you can just go halfway also. This is fine. You can just try and place your elbows down and just go deep. This is also fine. Okay. You can do some other variations, twisting, looking up, bending in front, bend the leg. If you want, you can hold the leg here into a semi-Raj Kapot.
Yeah, just experiment and see what feels good with the body. These are all such nice variations. So as you're practicing with yourself, and you can learn for your students. It's good.
Okay, let's switch. So coming into a downward facing dog, since we started from there, you can just pedal your heels up and down into a yang reset. The batteries go on the laptop. Okay, and let's take the left leg front now. Taking your blanket or bolster for the opposite foot. So even if you're flexible, you can just support your hips since we're going into a yin posture where we have to hold it for longer. So this will help you stay more aligned. Squaring your hips. Here, if you have a knee issue, you can support your knee also with a blanket. And then coming here, you can use your block, your bolster as in how you like. You can be into a semi-sphinx where your palms are right here. Open the chest, you can be like this, or you can then rest your forehead into a sleeping swan. We'll move into a side twist since we practice that on the right side. So we need your right forearm front, twist left hand up, then meet here. If you have like an triangle rope, you can hold the rope also. You just be there somewhere in this twist. But it's slightly more challenging to hold it at the top. So you can be here for only like half a minute. And from here, if you want to use like a flow, you can bend the back leg, hold the ankle, or just be there with the hand extended.
So you can give a rope.
You can ask them a start. Yeah, they can start, but this is depending on what you want to do. It depends on the theme of the class. Okay, let's go into the crisscross. So my left hand was in front first. Now I'm going to take my right hand in front. Going crisscross and stay in there. Okay, slowly we'll come out of the posture. Coming back into downward facing dog. Again, you can pedal your knees, your heels. And then we'll go into our midway postures, which you can do in the middle of the sequences. So the first posture in that is the Ustrasana or the camel. For this, I've hurt my knee in the past, so I'm gonna take support for the knee. It's good to take support for the knee anyways. So you come into a kneeling down posture. Alright? And then as if somebody is trying to lift you up from the top of your chest, right from the sternum. Then you first find that lift, stretch the back, taking a hand on the lower back and the other hand on the lower back and stay here. Let the head hang if you like, if you don't have any neck issue, or you can keep looking in front. But just observe, this is a slightly challenging posture, all back bends are, so it's going to affect your breathing. So keep on instructing them to keep breathing. When I inhale into the chest and exhale, feeling that breath in your belly. Or if you have students who are slightly more flexible or advanced, you can take the hand down towards the heels and stay. Just be very mindful of with your instructions. If they have any lower back issue, ask them not to take the hands down. They can still stay somewhere here in the middle. This works on your middle back, your upper back, your core, your glute. It's going to stretch the entire anterior chain of the body. Alright, once you're done, you can slowly come out and rest into a Balasana counter pose. Back bends are always finished with like a counter pose of a forward bend or a gentle twist.
Somebody has vertigo or migraine.
They won't take the head back.
Head back. So you just give them a chest up.
Just the chest.
And
Yes.
just gaze in the front.
Yeah.
But that's strong.
And also if you have any neck issue, if you have a cervical
Cervical
neck,
issue.
then you don't take your head back. So you can also do one thing like a variation. If you cannot hold your ankle, you can use the blocks to place your palms here. Use the blocks on
don't
each
have a
side.
range.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can be like here, but again it depends if you want to use this pose. We can't hold this pose for a longer time, of course, so we're gonna just give it
And
for a
single
minute.
arm?
Huh?
What about single arm?
Single arm is also, you
Yeah.
can,
You can do that and
you can,
do
it's
change
slightly more
over.
intense, yeah.
Oh, it's actually calm. But with a yoga block maybe easy.
That's true. Okay. Again, if they have an extreme lower back issue, we can avoid this pose, or you can just ask them to stretch and just do like a semi-hug back bend. And then always counteracting with a balasana, which is anyway your next posture here, coming into a balasana or a child's pose, taking your hands behind you, placing them right around your ankles. Here you'll see that their hips are coming up and they cannot sit completely on the heels. So for that, you can ask them to place a bolster between their hip and the ankles. This is a way of going into it. Again, if they have tight ankles, their legs will be somewhere here. Especially, I've seen my mom do it. Like her toes are somewhere here. So for them, you can also ask them to take another bolster for the ankles, and then another bolster for the hip, supporting them, or like a block for the hip, giving them space and then bending forward.
Knees wide, parallel, any.
Knees wide helps to rest. It's a mid-asana rest. This is like a deeper rest.
So for this we prefer parallel.
Here we like to keep our knees closed.
For the yin posture,
We can do both actually. We can also start with this. It depends on what you do. This is another child's pose. Since we did like a upper back bend with the knees closed, so we can just go straight down. It's just easier. You can also use like a block or a bolster in front to rest your chest. How's your knee here? Kamla, is it okay?
Yeah.
So if you have a knee issue, then you can take your knee slightly wider.
Actually, I can't do light. Anything else, even I can do the
Right, yeah.
dragonfly also. Just the 90 degrees is difficult.
Amazing. Alright, so coming up. So these postures are quite nicely done in a flow only. So from there, you can straight come up and ask them coming into a cat and cow posture. You can do like a yang set of just arching your back, rounding your back. And then we'll come into a malasana or a Indian squat. Again, this is one of the hardest posture in class for most of the students because tight ankles, tight hips. So you can take your mat, your blankets and roll it below the heels. Alright, so we'll roll it below the heels first and just see if the hips come down or not. Again, if they're somewhere here, where the hips are here, then you can ask them to sit on a bolster. Okay, and then bringing the hands in the front, right in front of your chest, eyes closed. You can breathe it. So what variations we can do here? Side bend, twisting. So side bend is going to be right hand on the side. You can either ask them to push the knee out, just feeling a deeper stretch on your inner thighs, or take the hand above the head, going into a side malasana fold. You can also, this is a posture in hatha where you fold your arms, but at times it's harder to be able to fold. So you can just place the hands in front and take the left hand back towards the lower back and just add like a gentle twist into the upper back. Again, it's not important to do all these fancy twists and postures also. It's just okay to be in a simple malasana as well. But it's just to learn all the postures which are there. Forward fold is very hard at times, but that's a good idea.
Fine.
So that's great. You can hold your ankles and do what Sonali is doing. Place your head like this.
Very good.
Nice. Okay, let's try this on the left side now. Taking your left hand from below the knee, opening the chest. You can either push the knee out, look up, take the hand towards the lower back, going deeper into the twist. Just observe which muscles are working. So in Malasana, we're working our lower back, our hips. So if you're somewhere still arching here in the posture, it's not going to help. So you can try and open the chest a bit more. It's working on your core, your glutes, your chest, your external hips, your psoas, quadriceps.
the legs to come forward like this.
That happens. So that is because of tight ankles. So it's okay though, it's fine. You can press your heels down more. That's it. So what I've learned in Iyengar for this is like, it's because your arch kind of collapses. You know, it could be this, the arch collapses, so that's why the leg goes in. So you can
now flat feet.
true. So the arch is not there for you. That's why the leg is also coming in. You can place like a handkerchief for your arch. You can give yourself like an arch, but that is going very precisely into the pose. But it's on if you see it happen with a student, then you can help them. Otherwise, it's okay. They can just be there, try and open the knee here, look up.
So Malasana you can hold for 3 minutes.
Yes, you can also hold for 5 minutes. Like earlier, ladies they used to do all the things in Malasana, like they clean button and wash their clothes in this pose. So you can be here for as long as you like, as long as you're flexible around the hips. Okay, from Malasana, I like to go into a standing yan pose. So I just like to hang the head, stretch the back, shake the hips side to side. And then the next pose is the bridge. So just cross your legs and sit. And then lie down for our bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana. We roll from one side and then lie down on your back. Knees are bent 90. So the normal bridge pose is where your hips goes up like this. But holding this for very long is going to be a challenge. You can start from here and then ask them to take a bolster below the sacrum. So the variations here are, you can give them more height, place your blocks below the glute. Give them as much supported height as they like. So placing your blocks here, placing your bolster on top, then asking them, placing their sacrum on it. Or you can do what Ira is doing, just place a block below the sacrum on in level 2, level 1, depending on your capacity. Again, it's an excellent posture to instantly bring your awareness towards your head. So the heart, since the heart is slightly above the brain, it instantly calms you down, cools you down. It's very good for your lower back, exceptionally good for pregnant women. Just a bit of supported back bend will help them relax the lower back.
This is inversion, right?
Little bit, yes, a semi-inversion. So it's a back bend. It also helps to bring the blood towards the head. So from here you can do variations. Take support for your arms if you like. You can just place like a block below the arm. Take your hands up and stay there. Or from here, you can also extend your legs straight out, going into a mountain kind of a pose. And stretch the whole front of the body. Okay, so from here, if you want to just go into some variations if you like, you can ask them to bend the right knee and hold. That helps to stretch the lower back a bit more, stretch the hip a bit more. You can also go from a twist into a twist from here, going into a supine twist. And let's try this on the left leg as well. Hugging the left knee towards you. You can stay here into a air-free pose or Pavan Muktasana with the right leg extended out and the lower back is on a bolster. And then take your left knee towards the right side. Okay, coming back. Start bending the knee and ask them to remove the bolster. And from there, we'll do a small yang reset of hugging the knees to your chest and just roll side to side, massaging your lower back. Alright, from there, coming over to one side, coming up, and then there are the standing postures. I think these are the fillers. Alright, the first one, you'll stand up, is the dangling posture. So anytime you want to go, if you're doing like a standing pose, and then you want to add in a filler, you can go into an Uttanasana or the dangling pose. Keeping your knees bent, you can either just place your hand on the floor, just rest the neck. You don't lock our knees here until and unless you're super flexible. Else it will come on your lower back. You can ask them to soften the knees a bit, just rest. If your hands don't reach, I like to not hang the hands in the air. You can ask them to place it on a block or a bolster, just a light touch. Let the head hang. Relax your neck, your entire spine. So you can also do this posture in a chair if you cannot, if you have any senior people, you can just ask them to sit and just hang their head in a chair. You can ask them to use blocks here if their hands don't reach. Or you could just go into a half Ardha Uttan where your hands are here, just be here, feeling the stretch on the back. Okay, it works on your arms, shoulders, lower back, glutes, hamstrings, neck. Okay. Next is the halasana or the straight or the snail. Is it done in the class? The snail? Snail is done? Okay, then I think we're done with all.
Now into inversions. So gentle inversion. Snail pose.
Snail is the halasana is done? Okay, so we have to do these four now also.
These are basically now inversions. Slightly more advanced postures / inversions. So snail, this dragon, that's two of them. And then these resets we've done. Downward, windshield wipers, cat and cow, and pelvic tilts. This is all fine. This we've already pretty much covered. So these two are the last asanas. The snail, the winged dragon. So again, inversion, and one slightly what we call advanced Indian, slightly advanced. Because a lot of people cannot do inversions, but we try.
Yeah. So we'll go into a halasana. So we'll lie down. You can keep a chair
My education is periods, right? For those who are not yoga teachers, when students have their menstrual cycles, women, they'll always give that instruction that avoid inversions. That's about it. All of you already know that, but just in case, it's important, especially doing inversions, if you're doing a yin class, you don't have regular yoga practitioners to let them know that inversions we avoid.
So for this, so you can place a chair handy, like you can do it against the sofa or a chair, or you can keep your bolster there. Yeah, if you have any neck issue, we avoid this pose. And how to go into this pose? You
Anything
can
underneath the
not really. It's a plain neck. So your head is plain here. You can first demonstrate. Raise the legs up. So this is also another way of going in the pose. You can bend the knees and ask them to go straight on their back. Be very, sure about this, that you inform them that they don't look here and there in this pose. It's going to come on their neck otherwise. Just stay here. You can ask them to place their feet on the chair if they have tight back. What's the other thing that they can do in this? To support them.
They can take bolsters here.
Yeah.
Then the rollover is easier.
For those who cannot roll forward, we can
Those
tell them to keep the bolsters underneath their bum. So even if people can't do this, at least they're a little bit, their bums are a little lifted, just a little bit, Now come down, Kamala. So even this is good. If you see her, a lot of people can't come up like that. So this is also good. Just a little put your hip on the bolster, move, roll back, roll back. No, not all the way back. Just keep resting your bum down. Rest your bum on the bolster, on the bolster, on the bolster. So even this is good. Just resting your bum on the bolster is good. Shivani, just show that. Just come down and put the bolster underneath your bum. So for people who can't roll all the way up, just even saying, listen, here's a bolster, put it down and just rest your bum on it. That's it.
Yeah, so you can also be like this with your head on the floor and your leg in the air with your back on the bolster.
It gives a little bit of support underneath your bum, so that kind of supports you a
This
little
is
bit.
again not long hold, right?
You
You
can.
can hold and push it for a while. It feels very comfortable, as long as you're in a good spot, because your feet are rested at the back. You're not hanging your feet loose.
So what you can do here, like another thing, you can use your blanket and place it just for your shoulders.
No, that's what I meant.
So you can
Below your
fold
neck.
your blanket,
Not the neck, but the shoulder.
yeah, and just ensure that it's nicely flat, right? It's not up and down.
Put a bolster at the back, straight back.
So nicely
Behind your feet.
same thing.
Okay,
placing it here. So at times we might have a hunch back, right? That the back is like this. This will help you support the back specifically. So right here, placing your shoulders right in line with the blanket. And then take the legs. It has to be a bit flatter.
It's like a little imbalance if you look like that. Bend the knees a little bit. Bend the knees, come back now. Body, come back.
Actually, the knees should be close to the ears.
Not
Is that how
right,
it
no,
goes?
it's straight.
Straight is so nice.
Like a little bend, just relax, It doesn't have to be looking any specific way. Like, this is comfortable for her. She can be here for a while. So anyways, there's a little natural bend in your knees. That's good. We should be able to be here for 5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes.
Try.
I think this would be very good for the gut also.
Very nice.
What Isha is doing is on the ones for her chairs.
Yeah, that's also nice for you, Isha. It's a good one. It looks
Yeah.
comfortable also.
Yeah, she has like a nice padding for her shoulders also, so her neck is going to be safe. So you can
She
take more
is
padding.
against the
Wall.
wall, is it?
Yeah.
Not very much.
She's supported and it's comfortable, it's nice.
So where I'm
padding.
having more pressure is,
The neck. So you can do this, what she's doing.
Huh.
That will help you support the neck.
also I think psychological, a little bit. Fear of,
So cervical, in case they don't have any other contraindications, but if just cervical stiffness and all, then the shoulder arm.
This will help for sure for the neck. Okay. Slowly you
and then
come.
hand is behind.
Hand is on
That
the
is
She's
lower back.
supporting.
Yes.
Keep it on a pillow or
I
anything.
think the cervical problem is a bit tricky. sometimes this can be good for people, sometimes it can be bad for people.
It is bad for
Sometimes it stretches, sometimes it feels like it's impacted.
because their weight doesn't stay on the shoulder, their weight goes on the neck.
Exactly, because their core is not so strong, so
Yeah,
they're
and then
completely
if we-
collapsing into the neck.
So especially online, we should be careful.
Yeah,
If
just
you are
be
in person,
careful,
you
if
may
someone is on their
gradually-
period, someone has cervical, just say that avoid this, or do it very gently, do it mindfully. So at least you're given that instruction, you know, especially because there are so many people who come with neck
So she's
and
staying
neck
on.
problems.
So it's mentioned also here that if you have a severe to mild cervical issue, then you should avoid it. So it's best to avoid.
There are many other
Yeah,
things
there are
to
many
do.
things that you can do.
Yeah.
And again, if someone cannot do this, just say, okay, lie in Shavasana. Because you have that in the class, you know? Okay, if you have a cervical issue, just lie back in Shavasana and come into your final, or come into relaxation. So that, remember that Shavasana can always be your pose if you aren't giving a second pose to people. Right, or even in this, just say to put your legs up for 10 seconds, 30 seconds.
But you
just
can
do a
make
gentle
them
inversion.
put a
Inversion.
bolster and hug their knees, just like a.
Since this is inversion, supported fish could be an alternate to
It
this.
can be, yes.
So we can do, you know, actually a lot of Hatha Yoga postures can be done in a yin style way. Many of them actually. So all of these are derived from our Hatha Yoga postures, right? That we're just, again, the concept is a little different. We're not actively using our muscles, we're more melting into the postures. We're not being active in this posture. Even the Setu Bandhasan, if you do the Hatha Yoga style, you're engaging your glutes,
Yeah.
pushing up from the glutes. You have to keep them 100% engaged all the time and use it to push up. Your whole body is so active. But here you're just
You're letting gravity play with.
exactly, you're just melting into the pose. So remember that one line will melt into the postures
Yeah.
in yin. So you're just allowing that gravity to do its job instead of holding in that tension and pushing into the posture and opening up.
Also, the people who only do YouTube, run YouTube channels and teach yin yoga, in my experience, I feel they don't show halasana as one of the inversion. They'd rather show because it's better if somebody is around you, right? Because
Yeah.
you're likely to.
Yeah, also in the US and all, people are a little, they don't do headstand so much. They just avoid some of these postures that can lead to, because a lot of people have cervical problems.
And also,
because of
yeah.
desk jobs and everything.
But
So-
is the headstand part of you?
You could probably, I'm thinking, yeah, you could probably do a headstand and
You can do the hanging one, no, on the spot.
yeah, on hanging or put your legs against the wall or something and hold it for a less amount of time. And, but it's difficult to melt into a headstand, I must say.
Yeah.
You're still holding yourself up pretty strong and straight even if you aren't trying. But the hanging one you can do with ropes and stuff.
I can do headstand against a wall, but I can't do it.
This feels very good.
Yeah.
The elevated, so those who cannot do the halasana,
Yeah. So you put a bolster and
they just do this much, hug your knees and.
Or just be, if you can't come up, because your rolling up action is also tough for people. This thing, you guys can do it easily, but bringing the hips up, a lot of people cannot, like many people. Just keeping a bolster underneath and just, that's it, So as long as they're doing something, it's good.
The next one is the winged dragon. So after this, after an inversion, you could do just roll side to side, doing the yang, reset, and we'll do the last posture is the winged dragon. It's coming from a downward facing dog, right leg in front.
Again, these are slightly advanced postures, you don't have to give them, but it's good for you to know them, that inversions are part of yin, some inversions, and you can do them.
Yeah.
These two, we've classified them as advanced.
We can start from here, just gently ask them to be with a straight spine. Feel the stretch around the hip flexors. You place a knee on the floor, Piyusha. Your back knee is on the floor. It's supported, back knee, yes. If you have any issue with the knee, you can take support with the blanket. And from there, gently ask them to just open their foot like a book. So let their hip just roll out.
Not all the way down.
No, it's right somewhere. Okay? And you can either be here, or if you think they can go deeper, you can place your forearm on the floor. If you want to use a bolster for the forearm, you can be there,
You
sinking
can
it
keep
deeper.
bolster under for some people if they want support. higher bolster, like
But then it won't serve. So
it
what,
will serve the
what
purpose.
muscles are we working?
We
We
want to
first
work.
focus on that. So right now we are working on the outer hip and the inner thighs. So to stretch that, I don't think the leg will go down too much like out. So you have to be somewhere here. You can place a bolster for the other thigh. For this part. If you want to rest here. Okay, this can work, but this hip has to work also. You can be there and just push the knee out if you like, look up. Just feel a deep stretch on your hip flexors.
This makes a lot of difference.
Yeah. That helps to support it. So if you have tight hips, you can ask them to keep a bolster on the opposite pelvis. Okay, and going deeper into this, if you want to go deeper, you can bend the back leg and hold your ankle or hold your toes, just stay here. If your forearms don't touch the floor, you can ask them to place like a bolster for the forearm and just stay here. This is a twist in the posture. You can also go into a forward fold, just going deep, placing a bolster in front and just place the head down. Yeah, you try to go straight down if possible.
You should keep the hips square, no?
Yeah, you will try to go straight down. So if you want more height, you can take more height, or you can be somewhere here. It's also fine.
Cat pulling,
And that is
that many times my calf rides up. Is there any thing to?
it's the side hips.
No, that was on the side.
On the side,
It's lying
Yeah,
down.
it's also, yeah.
And then you can go into a deeper stretch by going into a Ardh Hanuman here. Just stretch the hip, rest the head. If you want, just be here. Trying to stretch the back of the hamstrings, leg. You can also go into a split if you like, supported split. Where you just, it's doable, where you just support your pelvis and just be here. Leg is bending. That's okay, that's fine. But you try and square the hips, otherwise it's fine. It's just a posture if you feel that if your student is capable of it. Or you could just go into a normal pigeon pose. This is also fine. Okay, trying to square the hips. You can take more height for your bolster. You can place like a block. Good for you, you can place a block and take more height.
It's nice, comfortable.
Very nice. And if you go higher, it's
more.
Now,
You can hear, you see how you're melting into your posture, you're not really using your muscles. This is a nice, I know it is painful a little bit, but at least you're melting in. And over time, it does open up.
so you can do this in a flow. You can go from winged to a Ardh Hanuman and then go to a full Hanuman, half split, full split. And then if you want to feel a deeper stretch, just ask him to bring in front. Only ask for capacity. Again, I like to stay in this supported split for at least 5 minutes because it works throughout the hip, throughout the hamstrings, yeah. So you can easily stay here if it's supported. Come out. Bend the leg. Take the leg back. Downward facing dog. Bending your hips if you like. And then we're going to winged dragon on the left side. First, allow them to be in the posture, feeling that stretch on their psoas, on their hip flexors. Ask them to stretch
I
their
have a
spine.
question. I have a question. This is called as what? This is like similar to a pigeon, right? No, it
No,
is
it's
not.
a winged dragon. It's a winged dragon. It's also there in the book. Winged dragon. Yeah, dragon or winged dragon. And then you ask them to open the thigh. I'm going to show you this other side. Open the thigh and just go deeper. You can also go in front or a side stretch. If you want, you can fold your leg. Just find any of the variations as per your capacity.
In this case, the hip is not square, is it okay?
It's okay. You're trying to open up the hip flexors and the groin. Alright, from there, coming in the center, we can go into a Ardh Hanuman or a half split. Gently bringing in the center. You can use your block for the other thigh if you like, and just push the hips back. Actually, you don't need the block. So first we'll go into a half. That helps you just, prep the leg, and then you can go into a full split. Because full split is an extremely advanced posture, yes. The back leg is bent, the front leg is straight.
This is the half.
Half split, yes. Okay, so you can also be here for a longer time if you're not sure about going into a split. And then, if you feel it's possible for you, you can take support for your hips, for your pelvis, and then go into a full split.
This is good enough too. You don't have to necessarily come forward then.
If you want to. If you go in front, it's a deeper stretch. If you just stay here, it's normal. You're just trying to melt into your
It
pelvis.
comes on my shoulder.
Then avoid it. You can just be here.
Maybe I can take one.
Yeah, you can use 2 blocks for your palms. So we also do it in Hatha where you can just stay here, supporting your palms, squaring your hips. So blocks will help you square your hips also. This is what we do in Iyengar. There's a strap hanging from the back. You arch your back and you hold it. So slowly coming out of the posture.
It's the most advanced Indian posture, good job, right? And the most advanced Indian posture.
Yeah.
Arch now.
The maximum advanced.
And then we'll go into a Shavasana, or what do you want? You can do like a gentle twist if you like, just to end it afterwards, and then we're done with this.
Any of the gang resets are clear to everyone? The kind of things that you can do. So like Lotta is doing cat and cow, that's good, right? So just whatever you feel now, you'll often see that when you do a lot of doing a downward facing dog, just to stretch out your lower back. And feel really good. So just try this. Everyone just try any yin reset on your own. Whatever we've been learning, just try doing maybe a few cat and cows. See how that feels to your body, move into the downward facing dog. We've been doing a lot of windshield wipers, and even these simple, gentle pelvic tilts, when you're lying on the ground, and just moving your pelvis up and down. That's a nice way of resetting your pelvis, just also very nice for your lower back, just pushing the pelvis down and up. So we do these pelvic tilts quite a lot in Pilates, right, Sonali?
Yeah, we start with that.
So just kind of,
And
these are,
big blocks, circle the motion.
those are very nice. So because we're doing so much work with the hips, just resetting using these simple gentle motions like pelvic tilts up and down. Not even taking this back off the ground and just rolling the pelvis up and down. That back is not even lifting. This feels a very, very good posture for women. This is pelvic tilt up and down. Really, really nice and nourishing posture for the entire pelvic floor. And as we age, the pelvic floor muscles get a little weak. So these are really good practices. And even these circles with the sacrum, with the lower back, these are really, really nice. So just try these, and then we're basically done, guys. Good job. Welcome, lady. Go home. Thank you. Actually, we still have one more class left, by the way.
Are we doing Shavasana?
No, we're doing a yin practice. Our last one.
Oh,
These guys are saying thank you so much.
what we are doing in practice.
No, we're doing a full class now. This was the postures, now we have a full class. They're all like, I said, okay, you guys are done.
This was
Thank
also like
you,
a
bye.
At least held for 30 seconds, I think, no? It was quite.
Yeah, it was, but then we still have one more class.
Somebody asked me answer workshop, so I use the term, it's physically intense. So, it's just being.
Alright, so ready for the class?
Yes.
Okay, we'll do an hour. Please use the washroom. Please do whatever you need to. Please drink some water.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shivali. It was amazing. Very, very nice.
Are you staying? Huh? Grab that mat.
You staying?
Yeah. I know, she just wants to be with everyone. I think she's having anxiety because she wants to.
She is waiting like, when am I going to be
And she
late?
hasn't slept since the morning. Huh? She's supposed to be sleeping. Asha, come.
Hi, Miyu.
She's treating everyone then. What
Let's do.
Move to play so fast.
Loving Tatrika today, huh?
She's got her daily favorites. Don't mind me, please.
So excited. Yeah, she was just waiting to come inside.
Sit.
You know, I don't think she slept since morning, but she's just waiting for someone. She hasn't been here yet, okay? Yeah, you're just not gonna pee anymore, that's it, okay? So you're tired of that.
She did a potty today.
She's just tired of her peeing on every single mat and now pooing also, it's not fair. You know how many times have you
Baby,
seen her baby? She's so many.
Baby.
So many times.
She wants to be a baby. For some
How many times have we been peeing? She just wants to, okay, we can go down and play, okay, let's get back up.
Shweta will have to climb somewhere.
Yeah, she's like Iyengar yoga climbing on the rope and she's on. No problem.
How do you do the meeting from a question? It's very, to do an online thing. You have to screen, do a screen, how do you do the meeting?
Screen share and then advanced and sound share.
Oh, advanced and sound share. So the video will go and the pictures.
No. The video and the sound will.
But you don't need to be, no, their video will come. But I don't want, like, say it's a YouTube video.
No, it was just sharing only the sound.
Only the sound, okay, fine.
Just
Just
going
see
to
how-
star share, advanced and share only the sound.
Only
This
the
is an
sound.
optional. Simple. Simple. Say hi to Shiva. Hello. She's going to get emotion therapy. Yeah. But as of right now, she's only not getting treated for her. Love Shivali. Very sorry, kiss me. Oh, she's gonna scratch you with her nails. They're really sharp. They're gonna scratch me today.
She needs, yeah, needs to.
Yeah, she's quite sharp. She scratched my face today.
Oh.
That's me. Yeah.
Yeah, oh my God.
I'm going to cut your nails. She is like really excited. She wants to be in the class. Yeah, sure. She loves being inside the school. She only wants to be here, but she just came on the yoga mats. I'm going. She thinks it's grass. You want yoga mat? Why? Let's just finish doing more of that. Oh. Whoever wants to play with her can go inside the kitchen. It's like a new speaker system.
Oh, you promised it, sister. You're very good with the timing.
Yeah, we have to now.
Bluetooth mode. Connected.
Sorry, Neil.
We're staying in Paris together.
See, anything can happen with music, huh? You gotta be very careful. Oh, sorry.